Hello, everyone, and welcome to Get Better, a show about two longtime friends trying their best, growing up, and hopefully getting better. I'm Zach Johnson.
And I'm Sam Cherry. Welcome to the Snyder cut version of Get Better, where we take our worst episode and then we make it 4 hours long for some reason.
Mm-hmm.
So just a programming note, we bullshitted for about 35 minutes before right now, what you're hearing, which is the beginning of the show.
Yeah,
so,
and then the conversation did divulge into us talking about the Treaty of Versailles, so that's something to look forward to.
So we're going to put that at the end, and now we're starting the show again.
Yeah, it did start with us talking about I Think You Should Leave, the Netflix comedy show. So kind of like you'd be listening to us, but also it's kind of like going to be a sort of Agatha Christie mystery novel where you think of how we could have possibly bridged the gap between those two topics.
And keen-eared listeners will already know how I bridge the gap. But that's for later. Anyway, we watched a 4-hour movie that was marginally better than the first time we watched it. What'd you think, Zach?
So I think that is extremely important, but there is some more important news that I have to talk to the audience about beforehand.
Okay, I'm going to check the score of the Preds game.
And that is that it is I watch sports and so should you. And I just want to reference that Sam sent me a Twitter thread. We got to move into the Justice League.
The Justice League.
Do we? But just like that, this will possibly be a 4-hour unedited sort of just meandering.
Sure.
This are my favorites. Hashtag your girlfriend ever pour hot water on you when you sleep.
Hey Kevin, your girlfriend ever? You got
the first one is hashtag you ever wake up in the middle of the night and think about a girl like you starting to like and sit on the edge of your bed and say, damn, I want her.
He is the soft boy of Twitter.
I'm about to be a gentleman and send over a bottle of Perrier sparkling water to a nice group of beautiful women. Hashtag swag with 4 G's.
What was the one about slippage?
Right.
What the fuck is Kevin Durant doing?
Yeah, what is going on with him? This one is Bubble Guts woke me up out of my sleep. I had to check my sheets for slippage. LOL.
Just you being a multimillionaire tweeting about diarrhea, I guess.
I don't know. I'll have to find out like when he joined the NBA
so
because
weird.
This is in like 2011, 2010. Like
I don't know when. Yeah, you're right. Because I guess his first team was OKC, which was in either 2011 or 12.
Yeah.
How would you not delete all of that? Anyway, I don't know. That's wild. Anyway,
girl,
you guys should just look
you
up
like a bacon and egg sandwich. You look good.
That shit.
Bath and Body Works sells cologne and men's body wash. So how is it gay? Question mark.
Great question, Kev. How is it
asking,
I don't know what you're talking about.
He's asking this one, 2 more. One in him responding to someone else's, look at you, comma, emotional, which was from 2020.
Tight.
And
Tight.
My favorite one, which will get us kind of it'll prime up the audience for our conversation later. All right.
Okay.
Headed to the gym. Do you guys remember where you were on 9/11, 2001? Yep. I was in 8th grade, and I could see the smoke from the Pentagon by my house.
The crazy part is headed to the gym. Why don't you just put the second half? Why would you put the thing about
headed
going to the gym? Headed to the gym. Anyway, remember 9/11? Yeah, Kevin, every day.
Do you guys remember when 9/11 happened?
Yeah.
Anyway, let's go.
I do.
I am
Get my
both.
pump on. Remember 9/11? Yeah, I do. Man, getting some good sets in. What's up with Building 7? Good question, Kev. I don't know. Why are you doing this?
It's like he's really trying to put out there. It's like I'm a brawny guy, but I'm also emotional. And it's just like, yeah, that was pretty emotional. That was a pretty emotional time, Kev.
Thanks for reminding me about
Oh my
9/11.
gosh.
Okay, one more thing about 9/11, I promise. I have to send this to you. There was a couple, they recently just got in a lot of trouble, which is very funny because they got married on 9/11, not the 9/11, but like it was like the 14-year anniversary. Mm-hmm. And they did have a 9/11 wedding cake which was the two twin towers with their faces on the top. And they also gave everyone box cutters as wedding gifts.
Why?
What's
why
wild
would you
is they
do
were like,
that?
yeah, we didn't plan the cake. That was our friend who's an artist, and it was a surprise. But like, they also gave everyone box cutters as wedding gifts.
Okay.
So,
yeah.
you had a 9/11 wedding.
Yeah.
What the
If
fuck
your
is wrong with you?
friend gives you that, you throw that cake in the garbage can.
Yeah,
Like,
yes, and you were having a night. Like, they literally are like, well, because they like get tripped up, and they're like, well, we wanted to prove that our love could overcome the tragedy. It's like, you couldn't do it on the 12th?
that is
You couldn't just do that?
They listen to Steven Crowder. Like
They
that
had a
is
9/11
that is one of those like you mad like rage comics from 2009 like sort of shit where it's
Anyway, we
like,
gotta talk about this stupid movie, but yeah, anyway, someone had a 9/11 wedding, and it was fucking wild.
oh my gosh,
Like, grown adults. Like, these people are grown.
ass people.
It's like it looks like a second marriage, and it's like they're that age, and it's just like, you had a 9/11 wedding.
Yeah, not a lot. Yeah, there's.
I mean, that's funny, but like, what's wrong with you?
it's funny, and like it's like a wow.
Yeah, exactly.
Wow.
Yeah.
Like you really did it,
you
huh?
really did have a 9/11 wedding. That's
Man,
wild.
I am shocked that I'm shocked that this backfired on you guys.
Yeah, I can't believe that. And then to be like, oh, we got set up by our cake person. Like, did you? Because you, I think it was like in the invitations also had like a drawing of a box cutter.
Listen,
and it's like,
set up by their cake person. Their cake person went rogue, and they sent out the wedding invitations too,
and their gift bags, I guess.
All right, I get it. You know, you gotta be careful who you hire. You know, sometimes
to do your cake. Yeah. Anyway, it's really, the picture is really funny of them with the cake. We have to talk about this movie, I guess.
So. Welcome to. So I don't know how you've made it this long on our show. If
it's only been 2 minutes. So
no. I know how you made it this long, like listening to us. So Sam and I have at length discussed Justice League in our private conversations and the on-air conversations. Just any chance we get, anytime we need to compare some movies. Anytime we need to compare something to a bad movie, you bet your ass that Justice League 2017 is coming up.
I can't believe we don't talk about Cats more, but Cats is beautiful. Cats is wonderful in its own horrible way.
Yeah.
Justice League is not.
Yeah. Talk about like the mustache thing. We talk about one thing that I'll get to in just a moment because it did stay in the film.
It's so good that they had 4 years to edit it and they kept it in. It's so good.
So like it's just like top to bottom, just like character motivations are not there. Like everything is so wackadoo and just it's just not good. And at the end, Superman shows up and he's like, "Is this guy bothering you?" And
okay, I will
beats
say
the shit out of this dude, this alien, and then it goes like, "All right, we did it, guys."
And I said this to you, and I will say it again, but like, it is clearly a better version of the film. And I will never understand why they cut the scenes that they cut, because they are like instrumental to the whole thing making any goddamn sense.
It is,
but
honestly,
it's too long. It's far too long.
Yeah, so very important. So we don't have Snyder fans after us. This movie is in every way better. It is
better. It's obviously better.
It is an improvement upon everything that happened in the 2007 version or 2017 version.
Right.
It, however, is not really a movie, and it's 4 really hours a TV long. Show.
No,
it's just more kind of like. It's like, imagine you were watching behind the scenes, but it was just the movie where like everything makes it. Every single damn shot that they shot, it makes it. There is a scene where these Icelandic women are singing a song about Aquaman that goes on for about 2 minutes. There is 2 separate scenes where this one alien, doesn't matter, talks to the main bad guy, and they give the exact same dialogue twice. But here's
the thing about that, like, it again, everything they did with Steppenwolf, better. Everything they did with Flash, better. They explained how the box got to America, better.
Yeah.
But like, I don't know where to cut, but you need to cut this movie. Like, if
yeah.
Because here's the thing: is that like, the movie is better. It is a movie for one. It's not. It's an actual movie they made. But
yeah,
like, it takes you 4 hours.
No,
to
it just
do
like to me, it like the first like 2 hours especially are so meandering.
They're all in
and it's
slow
just
motion.
like it's like where and like because like I saw this thing where it was like Cyborg is the real beating heart of this, and it's like that is true.
Yeah.
But you see him so few and far between. Like you'll go like 20 or 30 minutes like hanging out with like each character, and it's just like, oh, we're kind of hanging out, aren't we? Like,
even then, intellectually, like if I had to write the plot down, yes, Cyborg is obviously the most important character, but
oh yeah, we have to get to that one thing. Oh man, we have so much.
God. But emotionally, like, of course he isn't, because like the movie's 4 hours long, and like, yeah, he's in it sometimes. Like, it's not a Cyborg movie. It's just if I had to write down on a piece of paper, like, okay, intellectually, who is the most important character? It's like, oh, it's Cyborg, of course. Like, yes, but he does not feel that way.
Like, yeah, he is the character that has the most happen to him. He is the one who is like introduced, and even in the final act, he is the one that like has the big emotional payoff.
But it's
like,
not a Cyborg movie. If you watch it, like, it's not. You would not walk away thinking like, oh, this was a movie about Cyborg. Because it isn't.
Yeah, like even
it
like
should be, but it isn't.
Spoilers.
Everyone's seen the movie, or it's a bad movie anyway.
Yeah, but no, the one sequence where like a lot of things happen in Cyborg's kind of like head or like mind palace, a la Sherlock, and there's that one moment where like he sees his family. Like, so he's trying to separate the mother boxes, and then he kind of goes into the mother boxes like mentally.
That was confusing.
And yeah, there is this sequence where it's him and his family's all together, and he looks at himself and he's like back to being a human again, and he says like, it's okay, like I'm fixed now, and if we can be together and everything can be fine. And then he like walks up to his like self, his like human self, and he goes like, there's nothing wrong with me. I'm not broken. And it's like, oh, that's like a really important emotional moment for him because he thinks of himself as a monster. And this is like the moment where he's the only character with an actual character arc. Yeah, this is like his moment where he can like take ownership of his own self, and he can be like he can like not see himself as a curse, but rather as like something that can be used to help people. Yeah. And so it's like this really big emotional moment. And I was like, oh,
on paper, you don't feel emotional.
And I was like, my thing when I was thinking, I was like, oh, this would be a lot more impactful if a lot of shit was not in this thing to distract me from the fact that he's the emotional core of this movie.
That was an hour 4 into this film. I'm like, I mean, The Irishman is 3.5 hours long. Like, yeah, and The Irishman is good and too long. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's not like it's not gonna work. It's 4 hour movie.
there's a lot of sequences I think with like Aquaman that could definitely be cut. It's like, I get it. You're like a king. We don't want to be a king. Got it. It's good. I understand. And there's like 3 or 4 scenes where he's like, I don't want to be a king. And it's like, yeah. I got it. Yeah. I know.
Was I supposed to understand any of that though? Like, who the fuck was William Dafoe?
Have you seen Aquaman?
No, but this movie came out before Aquaman. That's my thing. Is like this movie.
No, I think Willem Dafoe got added in a reshoot or something because, like, I think it's to make it work better with the Aquaman universe. So Willem Dafoe is like his trainer, like his like de facto father figure in the Aquaman movie.
But the premise of the film is that this is what should have come out in 2017.
Yeah.
So I was going into it like, I
methinks they were doing a bit of that Snyder was doing a bit of Snyderverse stuff.
Whatever, dude. I guess, but like anyway, I guess it doesn't really matter.
I guess for you, because when you saw him, you're like, who is this guy? Who is this guy?
No, it was fine. It's whatever. It's a movie. I just was expecting it to like explain who he was, because I was like, oh, this movie came out first, so if there's any characters in it, they're gonna tell me who they are. Like, Wonder Woman, I'm supposed to take, because Wonder Woman came out before this. Man of Steel, Batman, I'm supposed to just like take those films because they came out before, But any Aquaman stuff, that movie hadn't come out yet, so they'll explain themselves.
Yeah.
Nope. Okay, I guess I wasn't supposed to understand that.
Yeah.
And that's not a big deal. I just actually didn't understand who that was.
Yeah.
Except William Dafoe.
So all this to say, if you're the kind of person that cares about these sort of movies, then yeah, like you're gonna want to watch it. It's like it is a vast improvement upon the 2017 version.
But that's not saying much. The 2017 movie was very bad.
I mean, I found myself being pleasantly surprised with the Snyder cut. I think because my expectations were so low.
Yeah, it's still not a good movie.
I was just like, whoa, like the scene at the end where the Flash like reverses time, like I was like, this is really cool. Like this is if they, I don't know if this was a reshoot or if this was in the actual movie. I cannot imagine why you would cut out something like this. Or like,
the whole climax was better. I mean,
like the climax was better. Like just everything. Like I can't imagine. Like there must have been. I mean, I was thinking there must have been reshoots and like him kind of making his vision come true.
Right.
But like I cannot imagine seeing some of these scenes and going, I'm gonna put this in the dumpster. Like
that's the thing is like there's so much of it that I kept thinking throughout because I obviously don't like rewatch Justice League. Transformers is the only thing I like hate watch because I love watch it.
Yeah.
But like, there were things that my constant thought was. Either when I knew it wasn't in the original, I'm like, why on earth would you cut this? Or I'd be like, was this in the original? Because this film doesn't make sense without this scene. Like,
and like
all the Steppenwolf stuff, I was like, this had to have been in there, right? Because like this movie doesn't make any sense without this scene.
Yeah, I genuinely think that a lot of that stuff got cut, and it was just like added in like some jokey jokes or whatever.
Well, the thing I'm so glad they cut everything with Superman like saving everyone, because and this is still true in this film, but one of my big things is they're like, yeah, we need to use this map or something, or they like had to make some sort of sacrifice to find where Chernobyl was, or their equivalent of Chernobyl.
Yeah.
And it was like, excuse me, there's a giant fleshy red boil on the earth. Surely someone knows. And that's further like exasperated by the fact that in the original there are people that live there. Yeah. So no one's talking about the giant boil on Earth.
Yeah.
Still in this film as well, but less stupid.
I like it, but even at the end, like the climax sequence, like because in the other one, it just felt like it felt like every single person had a job. Where in the Snyder cut, like the Flash had to do that thing where he had to like charge up Cyborg, and Cyborg had to like take the mother boxes apart. And like while that was happening, like Wonder Woman and Aquaman were playing defense, and you kind of get the sense like
Batman's also there.
Yeah, it's like you kind of get the sense that they could probably, and like Batman's like he's also there doing Batman shit. Shooting parademons.
He is just a human man. So you give him a break.
But you're kind of getting the sense when you're watching it, it's like, oh, they could pull this off, like without Superman. Like
this
is
a plan. Yeah.
Like they could get this done. But in the 2017 version, fucking Superman just shows up and goes like, it takes care of everything, and it just feels like, oh, okay, like to
the level that you pointed out, which is like kind of like. Not made you feel dumb, but like this scene specifically where he picks up the whole apartment building, like Flash is trying to get as many people out. It's like wait, I can't even express it, but it's like it was sort of making fun of itself of like, all these people are it's stupid to even try anything without Superman.
Yeah.
And you didn't get that feeling in the Snyder cut.
Yeah, you felt like it felt more like a team like movie, and like they were using like combo moves, and like they were actually working together. Yes,
well, like, they came up with a plan outside of Superman because they didn't know if Superman was coming back.
Yeah. And that so it really felt like they were just like in the 2017 version, they were just clonking their dumb heads together, like wasting time before Superman showed up. Yeah. Anyway, it's better, but I feel like this may end up being a whole other conversation, but we have to at least address the one thing, which I think is something that you brought up though while we were watching it, which is there is like some kind of like underlying philosophy that Snyder has when he's making these movies. One there's two big ones, and I think the one that's been harped on so much. There's a video by Maggie Mae Fish about this. It's called like Save Martha,
Oh, really?
and it's like women in the Snyderverse or in the sort of Snyder movies, they serve the functionality of like making the men characters better, or like
It's a common trope.
Yeah. So, but I feel like when you're watching, like in the thing, it just really feels like Lois Lane is like a damsel in distress, and she's just like her only functionality in the movie is to like give Superman his heart back, or like, and his mom, their only functionality is to like give Superman like, or to make him, it's like, remember who you are because the women in your life. And it's like,
and it's sort of
that's all well and good, but like, it's kind of this like, the way it's seen, like even in like the only thing that Superman and Batman relate to in Batman vs Superman is like Save Martha. It's like, you have a mom, I have a mom. The women in our lives are really make us, and it's drenched in this like I'm an ally type like feminism, but it's just like it's like you didn't do shit, man. Like you didn't write, like you like are trying to skirt your way around not writing these two female characters, but rather making them like the saving grace of the man character. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it's still primarily a story about men making things happen, but with this sort of, and I'm under the impression
kind of like 1950s sort of like behind every great man is a great woman, and it's just like, but you didn't write the character. Like you didn't write Lois Lane.
Still not
you set her in these scenes of her being like generally sad, and it's just like, or like her only functionality. And like that's kind of the one thing that annoys me the most about the Lois Lane character, because in the comics, Lois Lane is a Pulitzer Prize winning like
comics.
No, I mean like, it's such like it is kind of a thing to point to, but like when you have such this like source material, even from like the 1950s, 60s, 70s, 80s, what have you, like you know, she's a Pulitzer Prize winning author, and she is like a person who Superman like kind of falls for because she like doesn't take any shit, and she like bullies him and calls him Smallville, and like he is attracted to just how like self-assured and how like confident she is, and then just like to take that and be like, she's like, oh, like I'm a sad person, and
my impression
to me it's like it's like annoying, and like in like even in this whole 4-hour thing, like you know Lois Lane, Martha Kent, even Wonder Woman to some extent, like they get like no time. And he like tries to like he tries to kind of like offset this by doing this really long like Amazon scene, like with the Amazon women,
which is cool, to be fair.
Which is cool, but like even then, like they don't really feel like real people. You know what I mean? Like they're not the ones that are dealing with like conflicts of like morality or whatever.
Yeah, certainly.
Yeah. So I think that's one thing that has been pointed out a lot in his movies, that like as I was watching the Lois Lane scenes, I was like, he's done it again. He's at it. He's at it again.
Put more of, my impression with Lois Lane in both versions of the movie is every time I see it, I'm like, I guess I should watch Man of Steel to like understand, because like she's not a character. Like I don't know anything about Lois Lane from the movies, and I'm like, maybe if I watch Man of Steel, this person will make more sense to me, but I got nothing on her.
No, and even in
maybe
Man of
Steel, it won't.
In Man of Steel, she kind of has a bit more of that edge, but just like, the instant that she is brought into Superman's orbit, she serves as like it's almost like he's like an outsourcing of his emotions. Like it's like she is an external hard drive for like his humanity.
Right.
And it's like, it paints, it does injustice to both characters. Like one, it like totally denotes her as like, she's the emotional one because she's a woman.
She's a lady.
And also Superman just doesn't get people. And so he has to have Lois, because otherwise, like, he's a god and he just doesn't understand these ants. And it's like, well, that's wrong for both things. And like,
I think that's fine for him, but for her, it's like, well, she's also like a person who has like a Netflix account and shit. You know what I mean? Like, she is a person within. I mean, it's a bad example, but you know what I'm saying? Like, she has flaws. Not that.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I've made that more confusing by making it.
No,
sound
yeah, no. I think it is like there is.
She is a full character. Presumably, she should be a full character with like flaws and interests.
It's like it's this way of like, because Snyder loves doing allegories to Christianity.
Sure.
It's like they deify the women characters and they remove them of their humanity.
They're like Mary.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Mary. Yeah, like Lois and Martha Kent are like Mary, where like the person of Mary matters less and less as the years go on, because like she has become become like a deity.
Did they do a Madonna shot in Batman vs Superman?
They didn't. They did one in Man of Steel where Superman goes to a church, and then in this one, it's like this so ham-fisted line where he is talking about what he has to do to sacrifice, and then he like he stands up, and right behind him is a cross, and Jesus is on it, and it's like you did it.
You did it. I'm saying like when he dies, is the Madonna of
where she's
Mary
like
and Jesus
I
is
don't
like
know,
on his on her lap. Do they do a Madonna?
Dude,
they
probably.
Might.
Dude, probably.
Like, I feel like I'm remembering like a crane shot going up, and it's Lois Lane and Superman's in her lap, but I might be making that up.
No, you may just be imagining that because like
it just feels
Snyder.
Like
Snyder's listening to this going, fuck, I should have done that.
Shit, I should have done the Madonna.
Yeah. Then they would have got it.
So the other philosophy.
Yeah, the other thing, and this is the one that Sam brought up, because like the one I'm talking about is
insane.
Like it's like it's like a very well known like the women in the Superman movies is like, oof, missed the boat there. But this is one that Sam brought up that I think is also incredibly interesting when you are like dissecting the philosophy of Snyder.
It was just so okay. So it's the cyborg scene that I talked about last episode, and it is the scene where he's in his mind palace. And there's like 3 lines in a row that I literally just had to keep rewatching because I'm just like, he didn't just say what I think he did. And he says like, you could launch every nuke in the world with a thought or something. And then he says, you could
this is his dad talking to him.
Oh, so yeah,
his dad who makes Cyborg into Cyborg
somehow with the mother box. I don't know.
Yeah, he's like telling him like basically like giving the audience a cue into all of his powers.
Yeah, and then he says you could manipulate financial markets like they were playthings. And then the third thing he says is he's like, the challenge is not doing it, and like basically like that builds character.
Yeah,
and then I'll just walk through everything that happens and then explain sort of like what he's saying, obviously. And then the next scene is it shows like all this room that's like a Wall Street building, and he walks in and it's all these piles of money with little names by them to be like, oh, this is like the representation of like bank accounts. And then it's this lady, and she doesn't have any money, and it shows her life, and like she's getting evicted, and she works really hard, but then she like even though she's poor, she like gives money to homeless people. And then what Cyborg does is just like generates money out of nowhere and gives it to her.
Yeah.
And then it cuts to him in real life, and he's seeing her get it.
Now like out of an ATM.
Out of an ATM. And the thing is, the film does not point out that this is in direct contradiction to what his dad just said. Because what his dad just said is you could manipulate the market. The nuke thing, well, I'll get to the nuke thing. You could manipulate the markets, but the challenge, what you should do, what will make you good, is not manipulating the markets.
Mm-hmm.
And then we're seeing a scene that is, again, to the audience in every way supposed to think, like, he listened to his dad and is good. But obviously he's doing the exact opposite of what his dad just said.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it is this kind of... I mean, what I kept saying is Cyborg is Joe Biden. But, like...
Yeah, it's this completely wild thing. Because, like, this is something...
The good thing is to not use your power.
Yeah, this is something that, like, I think is, like, it kind of like gets into, like... another piece of the philosophy of Zack Snyder as he's doing this is like, because he can manipulate the markets and he can generate money out of nothingness because money means nothing. And
Right.
it is all like,
Digital,
fake.
and so whatever.
Yeah, digital,
yeah.
whatever. And he like shows this. But what he does is he just like gives money to a person. Like
Stimulus
just to like
checks, for example. Hypothetically, he stimulated her.
Just to this one woman. And this movie bends its ass over backwards to show that this woman is good and deserves this money.
But raises the question, hey guy, couldn't you just end wealth inequality?
Yeah, you could just do that for everybody. And then like
you could just do it.
Yeah, so it's this like thing because like
end poverty tomorrow.
Like the scene with the woman, like the more that I thought about it is like so representative of like he's giving to the woman, he's giving it to this woman because she deserves it. She's like. The scene would not work if he just gave it to a rando because like it would be like it would enter too much into like this. Well, we don't want to like welfare and like some people there's
I don't think
welfare
that's
queen.
I don't think that's it. But go ahead.
No, but like I think that like because it shows that like. It shows the insurmountable wealth of like the insurmountable all of his powers.
Yeah.
And he uses it to do the bare minimum to someone that is like already has a good qualities. And like the rest of the movie, as he's zipping around, like, shooting things with his laser and like flying around and what have you, it is like kind of goes to show it's just like, you are using your powers incorrectly. Like you have,
of course, yeah, right.
You have missed the boat.
I think those are supposed to be two separate thoughts. I think that the woman scene is a reinforcement that what you just heard is good and said by good people. Because again, the film is telling you that he listened to his dad. Mm-hmm. What his dad just said was the exact opposite. But it's like his dad gave him some advice, and then you see him, and everything about the language of the film is telling you he listened, do a good thing, something that objectively we would all agree is good. Help this nice woman. I don't think I think where the crack is shown is that they literally just talked about money, and then they showed him just like manipulating the market like it's a child's plaything.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's where they fucked up, and it might not have been as obvious, but like I think what the point was supposed to be, because of course the thing about the nukes is if you could launch every nuke, you could also stop every nuke. And they show all these schematics of all these like rockets and tanks and like guns, and it's like, sorry, so he could end war and poverty right now, and his dad's advice is don't, because that restraint is the true show of character. And then that advice is reinforced by, see, he's listening somehow and is being good. Because we all agree that giving poor people money, people who are down on their luck, money in this very sympathetic way is good. Mm-hmm. So he's good and listening to his good dad. So you should also listen to his good dad, which is why it's actually okay that powerful people don't help. In the same way the Wonder Woman movie, the whole premise of the Wonder Woman movie is like, wouldn't it actually be bad if people got what they wanted? The Wonder Woman sequel.
Yeah, 1984. Like,
wouldn't it be bad if everybody actually just like got things they wanted? Really, not getting what you want is what's actually good. And they're saying the exact same thing in this scene of this movie.
Because it says like that sequence there is like you. Like, yeah, you could end all even
you could end all poverty.
Well, like they use like nuclear wars as the example there, but I mean, like,
but you could do the opposite.
And obviously, yeah, there's people that would like kind of like they would like they'd want to. There's people that want to have wars and whatever, but like making it intensely difficult for them to do that.
To say literally the machines won't work.
Yeah, but it kind of does it in this way of like. But the status quo is good, or like the way that things are is good. So
if you have power, it's actually good if you don't fix it.
Do that. And it's like it is this interesting thing where like you basically gave Cyborg like this in-universe breaking power of like being able to do this and like be able to like mess with the markets or be able to end all wars. And then it's like, yeah, I get from like a writing standpoint, he can't just do that, because then it's like, much like the thing with the Flash, once you can stop time, you've entered into God mode and nothing else matters.
Just don't add that scene in is the thing.
Exactly. It is just don't add that scene, because it points to this like really weird, this really weird philosophy of but
it's explicit.
The real restraint is don't help, because we can't always get what we want. It's like you could have just I think it's these two things that Zack Snyder likes to do, which is like, one, he wants every character to be bonkers off the wall powerful, which is how like Batman, he's like, Batman's a billionaire or whatever, but he can
he's
manifest.
Rich, he says it.
But he can manifest this technology that doesn't exist, that serves the function of the scene they're in,
that his butler builds,
like shit that doesn't exist. And it's like, that's his power, where he can manifest basically anything. Superman can do anything, the Flash can stop time, and he can do literally anything. And I think he wanted to have the same thing with Cyborg, where he has this god level universe breaking power. But in that scene, you could have just but in the scene with the markets and him giving the money to the woman, it's like you kind of shot yourself in the foot, because you wanted to give him this power, but you also want to maintain the status quo. So you put this really whiplashy sort of these two scenes next to each other of the way to help is to don't.
If I were to guess,
and then it shows him helping, but the way he is helping one person.
Right.
And it's just the only way that he could help that one person was by the movie being but it's okay, she's good, she deserves it.
If I were to guess, I think the scene was written in reverse, where they started with this him helping the lady, and then there was kind of a producer's note that was hey, but maybe don't have redistributive wealth posed as a good thing. Maybe just giving poor people money, make sure it's clear that that's actually not good, which is not the view of the podcast, but I think it's the view of not even the film, because it's not a thing that comes up ever again. It's just this one scene where they're hey, but just so we're clear, you could completely upend the economic system and just end poverty today, but don't, because that actually would be bad for some reason.
Are we reading into this way too much?
No, it's explicit in the film.
I think it
they say it outright.
I feel like it's it must be a subconscious thing, or this sort of.
I think it's a producer's note. I honestly think it's something.
I don't think they went so far as to say that giving money to poor people is bad. But redistributive wealth is bad. I am much more. I think that you and I find different parts of this interesting. Where one, yes, him ending all wealth and whatever is a weird thing, but just I am just so very shocked at him following that woman around and making it to where the audience is oh, we're cool with her,
but it's cool because she's good.
It's cool because she's good, because we can't it. It's if we gave money to everybody, who knows what they would do with it.
That's the premise of the Wonder Woman film. If everyone got their wish, that would actually be bad, huh?
It's who knows? But this person with her kids or whatever, she's she's one of the good ones, so she deserves it.
Right.
But it sets a bar for comfortability. It sets a bar for financial freedom. You know.
Well, and also wait a minute. So she's a waitress and she works really hard, but her boss doesn't pay her enough, and her landlord has made the rent too high. These are also people who have bank accounts in this magical you know what I mean? It's
in this once you can go into anybody's fucking bank account and mess with stuff, it's it doesn't. It doesn't go to show, because by helping this one woman, it serves the audience he's a nice boy.
He's good. That's
like
the point.
it enters into it opens up way more problems because like he would also with like this intense knowledge of seeing everybody's thing, he could definitely see like the ticking like bars of wealth like divvied across all of society.
Right.
And like yeah, like it's like, what about the people that live in the apartment next door? Don't they work hard? Aren't they entitled
Right.
to like having a comfortable wage, or are they bad people? Like,
Right.
or what about the people? Like, what about like, you know, the landlord or like anything like that? Like, but it doesn't. It's definitely not going to go into all of that.
Right.
but
Well,
yeah.
or just even, I mean, because, yeah, and again, this is the point being, like, the thought experiment, which I think is what they're trying to avoid, which is like, well, wait a minute. What if you did just redistribute the wealth in a way that everyone had enough to live?
Yeah, because he doesn't redistribute wealth. He makes it up. Like, he goes like, bloop, 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 and like,
Well,
and like,
sure, but why don't we just do that? And I think that's why retroactively they put in the line that was like, but the important thing is actually don't do any of that, because that's what makes you good, which is nonsensical. But I think the point is supposed to be like, don't think too much about the fact that he can just make money and that he should just do that instead
yeah,
of
it's
shooting a gun. Like, or not the gun is bad, but like he's just going around like shooting individual bug monsters. And it's like, maybe redistribute the wealth, and actually that would, I mean, again, I'm not even saying that this isn't a Marxist podcast. My point is just like, it's fucking wild to establish that he could end poverty and disable all weapons more complicated than a gun. Anything more complicated than a gun, he can disable forever.
Yeah,
with a thought, and they're just like, don't do that.
One of those like there are people that are probably like, well, it's good that we have nukes actually, because it's like, you know, it's like that.
But
like,
it's good because because as a deterrent.
Well,
but he can deter everyone.
It's like, it's actually good to have nukes because it's the same. It's like the exact same argument with guns, but on a bigger scale, where it's like, because then only the criminals will have nukes. Well, no, because I can shut those down too.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, unless like there's no other, like I can stop it all.
Unless it's a catapult, like I can do it.
yeah. And it's like,
exactly.
It's like, and the only people that you are protecting is like geopolitical influence. That's like the only thing. Right. Like you're not helping the common man by having all these nuclear weapons.
And that's what I thought was so wild, and that's why I was joking that he's Joe Biden, because what it says is like, you have all the power in the world to do all these things that are really good, but actually the good thing is to not do anything to help people. But also, look, you're gonna give stimulus checks to this lady, and it's like, that's why I was joking that he like is Joe Biden.
Yeah.
But I just couldn't believe that it was in there, because like we said, like this scene didn't need to be there. All those lines are voiceover. You could have changed them to whatever. And it was just wild that that's what they said.
Yeah.
Of like, the challenge is not doing any of that.
Yeah. It is. What? It is like an absolute, it's a wild thing. And, yeah, well, that'll probably live in my head all the time.
And this is the last thing I'll say about it, but any one of those sections removed wouldn't have made it crazy. Like, what makes it so crazy about the money thing is that they said you could manipulate, because I think they framed it poorly. They're like, you could upend, maybe they said manipulate. You could manipulate the markets like it was a plaything, and then they showed him giving money, giving you an example of a thing he could do, and said, don't do that. Like, that's what's crazy. And there was no negative effect to it. That's why I think, like, we're supposed to take that as him taking his dad's good advice, even though it's the direct opposite, because there's no consequences to that at all. And there's no indication that that was the opposite of what his dad just said. But all three of those things together and the nuke thing was like, it's just like crazy they put that. Again, you know why they put it? Because they don't fucking care. It doesn't matter.
I think I walked myself into figuring it out, that he wanted every single person to have this like god power level of
that makes more sense.
or whatever, and they're giving it to Cyborg, and then they were like, whoops, like we
Yeah.
didn't mean for all of the implications of that to be true. We just wanted him to be like the Bradley Cooper from Limitless.
Probably probably realistically, it's because they just didn't consider. When they heard manipulate the markets, they didn't have the thought I had, which was like, oh, end poverty. They thought like, oh, you could crash the stock market, which is where all my, you know what I mean? Like they're looking at it from a very different like class point of view than I am.
Yeah.
So it probably didn't even cross their mind. Like, wait, could he just end poverty and actually that'd be good? Like they aren't thinking it. It's not probably as nefarious as I'm thinking of it. But that philosophy is fucking insane.
Yeah. Also, there's a scene with Joker at the end that is
oh my god,
fucking awful. It is absolutely 100%.
Oh my god,
is the stupidest thing that has ever happened.
I forgot. Oh, that was the other thing to your point about women. My guess is that like Lois Lane gets killed and it makes Superman evil.
No, yeah, that's 100% what happens. They say
Obviously,
it explicitly.
right? Yeah.
Like, because they say it implicitly, and the movie goes, okay, dum-dums, like, just in case you didn't figure it out. Like,
yeah.
Because the thing is, it shows as Superman that Lois Lane dies, and then Darkseid comes up behind him and goes, like, you're my little buddy now. And it is this implication of like, oh, her only purpose was to tether this fucking madman, it seems, that like Superman has no, like, apparently like the way that he's written is like, and also Zack Snyder just wants to make a movie where Superman kills everyone. That's all he wants to do.
Clearly,
like,
that's what
it's all he wants to do. He's done it like every one of his movies. He's had a scene where Superman goes crazy and
snaps
then
someone's neck or whatever.
Like he just wants to have a movie where Superman like blow shit up, and so
which
whatever.
Is fine. That's a different Superman. I just don't know why everyone in the movie universe pretends that he isn't that guy.
Yeah. And like, so they once again go bend themselves ass backwards, like have a relationship with his dad, have a relationship with his other dad.
Sure.
And that he's a good boy and whatever. But in this universe, because it's like a vision that he has, the instant that Lois Lane dies, he goes maniacal. Like he loses everything that he had, everything he has tethered to humanity, and is like, yeah, I guess I'll work for Darkseid now. This place that I have lived all of my life and these people that I care about, my mom and my wife and like whatever, like they're gone, so I guess I'm gonna be an alien overlord.
Yeah.
Like all those memories of me going to high school and
all my friends.
Like all my friends and whatever. Fuck those guys and all the human kindness I have been seeing all this time. I'm going to become an alien overlord. It is like, it's like such a wild thing to put all of that influence on Lois Lane while at the same time not giving her a character.
And one thing I'll say, and this is in the Batman vs Superman trailer, and I thought maybe they were going to go this direction at the beginning of the Snyder Cut, and I honestly think this is like an interesting direction. Like, we don't need more movies about what if superheroes were real, but if superheroes were real, everyone would be in an insane cult. Like, they would all be in a crazy cult worshiping these gods on Earth. Like, the Icelandic women singing, I was like, oh yeah, this is actually what everyone would lose their mind and become weird cult leaders. No one would be a regular like, there wouldn't be a Daily Planet. There wouldn't be newspapers. It would all just be, they'd all be insane cult members because like these people exist. It's weird that anyone's normal.
There's so many implications. It's kind of because like, like as I said earlier with all those like Christian like sort of things, like once you find out aliens exist, like out the window, like, or like there's like this alien overlord that's like blowing up cities and whatever. Yeah. Like, and it's like, all right, on my way to the coffee shop. Like, no,
like,
no, you're not.
Woman's real? Like, no, it's just fucking over. Like, I mean, again, Man of Steel had its whole 9/11 moment, which was like explicitly a what if this movie had a 9/11 moment. But like, everyone would go insane, right? Like, everyone would go completely.
There would absolutely be no like, okay, like on my way to Trader Joe's, like
it's
like every like it would
Zod and Superman blew up a building. You're all insane now. What are you talking about?
I
get why they don't do that.
The universe as you had seen it previously no longer exists. So, like,
and I understand why that would be a bad film, or not a bad film, but I understand why that would be bad if every superhero film like actually grappled with what normal humans would. Yeah, that would not be good for the genre, and I don't think that's where they should go. But I thought that's where they were going with the Icelandic women. I was like, oh yeah. Duh. And in the Batman vs Superman trailer, there's like a weird vigil or maybe it's a different movie. I don't know.
Yeah, where they're all like touching them.
That might have been the Justice League trailer, honestly. But
maybe.
Anyway, yeah, it's like, oh yeah, everyone having an insane cult where they worship Superman makes perfect sense. I don't know why there isn't more of this.
Yeah, but very brief. I just want to say that there was no chance in hell that any of the dialogue that Jared Leto did was written. He was like, it genuinely felt like it was just him riffing. Like he was like, and so Batman, like, what are you gonna do? Kill me? You can't, because you and I live for each other.
Which I don't understand. I think that works in a comic book. I don't think it ever makes any sense in the movies.
And then Batman, because this is a Snyder movie, Batman said, like, and when I kill, and I'm gonna kill you, and when I fucking kill you. And I was just like, stop.
And then they were even talking about it like Wade, I don't know, Deadpool, but DC, the guy, Deadpool.
Yeah.
Deadpool was like, are you happy you brought him along? And it's like, this is like the same thing with Harley Quinn in Suicide Squad. It's like, again, in a comic book, I see how this could work, but this doesn't make any goddamn sense.
Yeah, why'd you bring him? Because he's like, you need me, Batman, to fix this universe you messed up, and also I'm gonna jack you off.
Yeah, I'm gonna give you a hand job in this movie. What? What are we doing,
dude?
Jared
saw
Leto?
Before I saw the movie, I saw these Twitter threads that were just like, finally a scene between Batman and the Joker that's awesome. Like this is the kind of scene that I want. Batman and Joker debating philosophy like they do in the comics, and it's like, I'm gonna give you a handy in the back of this car, Batman.
Who's gonna give you the reach around? It's like, cool.
It was something like that, and it was just like, you're not gonna kill me, Bruce. And it was just like, whoa, he knows his name. Also, why are you still dressed up as Batman? Like, it's
who cares?
Is so stupid.
Why are you in this costume?
And I knew it was gonna be like that because, like, in the trailer, he's like, "We live in a society," and it's just like, oh my gosh. But yeah,
I didn't know Joker was gonna be in the movie.
Oh my gosh, I ruined that surprise for you when you see him. He's like, like, just in like, they're like, we gotta move, we gotta stay low, but not before we have this weird ass conversation out in the open, and it's just like, yeah, like it's like the same shtick that's been happening since The Killing Joke, where it's like, we need each other, Batman.
Never elaborating why they need each other.
Exactly. It's like, because
in the films, at least, I don't read the comics, but in the films,
in the movies, never either. It's just like you know, like darkness rises to meet the light, and like we can't kill each other because I think you're fun, and you'll never kill me because you'll never cross that line.
But that's which he does repeatedly in the movie.
Yeah. Oh,
but that's the
gosh.
thing is, like, it's a weird contrivance to get around the fact that, like, how comics work, where it's like, well, we can't. It's like, okay,
we can't
this is
kill
a Snyder
him
cut, so we
because
can keep talking,
he's like,
but, well, you know,
and also whatever. Like, if we kill him, we'll just bring him back, like, in another whatever.
In Civil War, you know, in Captain America: Civil War, there's a scene where they're talking about the Sokovia Accords. And one of the characters is like, yeah, this happened and this happened and this happened, and none of this was happening before you guys showed up. And I wanted to like pause the movie and be like, hey, dude, it's a movie. Like, yeah, don't give away the bag. Like, yeah, because it's a movie. Like, because like what he was saying was like, before Iron Man came around, there weren't any supervillains, and they were trying to do a Killing Joke thing, but it's like, yeah, because this is made up. Like,
this universe started with the opening sequence of Iron Man. Like, it didn't exist
exactly.
before
Like, it didn't
that.
exist. Yeah, and again, even then, they sort of retconned it where like Captain Marvel was around, and also Captain America was around. You know what I mean? So it's kind of like,
yeah.
But yeah, like he says it as if it's not a series of fictional films, where it's like,
Yeah.
Well, yeah, but that's because it's made up. Why would you put this line in your movie? Like, of course not, because it's made up.
Yeah.
We can't get into it because we're at an hour and a half.
Yeah.
But
Anyway,
I saw WandaVision.
Justice League Snyder Cut, 10 out of 10, best movie ever.
Fuck yeah, I'm going to watch it 7 more times.
Yeah, definitely. I'll watch it. Yeah.
No, I'm never going to see
definitely
this
watch
again.
it, if not only for that one Cyborg scene and then the scene with the Joker at the end. I actually have those on repeat, just playing at all times.
I saw WandaVision.
Oh, nice. We'll have to talk about that next week, I guess.
Yeah, some other time. Oh, wait, let me get a quick score check before we leave. Although, for the audience, they will be now skipping back to our earlier conversation. So
actually you probably need to do a little thing where we bridge the gap between those two things.
Damn, it is 1 minute left in the third, and it is 1-7. We are kicking ass.
Nice.
Go Preds. Anyway, I'll cut it, so I'll put the intro at the end.
Yeah. So you are now about to hear our other conversation.
Oh, right. Where we just got on the phone and started bullshitting, and then it turned into 30 minutes. So
and this
enjoy.
One is and this is a very reading too much into things sort of episode. So
no, I am 100% right about that other shit. But
yeah. So get primed up for that. Get excited for that.
Lucille from Arrested Development.
I saw that. You text me that. I didn't know who it was for a moment.
Yeah, I didn't.
And I did. Yeah, I guess I didn't even know her name. I knew her as
we've been sitting here all day, and you didn't even ask my name.
What's that from?
I think you should leave. The hot dog sketch, the greatest comedy ever.
Oh,
he's like. Anyway,
we're all trying to find out.
You know what's crazy? It could be literally any of us.
I am so glad that he got the money to do that, because it really does feel like they wrote him a blank check and they were just like, yeah, do whatever you want.
You're dressed like a hot dog. So is he. Aww. That's just so funny.
There is this one. I think about the one skit where he goes he goes it's the skit where it's like, you can heal your back with this back surgery. And he goes, I can get my money back from Randy and or whatever it is.
And he's like, it's in my Q zone. I can do it.
I
do. Start singing a song, but he's just singing any song because he doesn't know what the song is yet. It's so fun. The big fat guy.
Yeah. Your family doesn't love you. Only I do.
They said it sounds like shit. Your family doesn't love you.
I am constantly anytime I am in a moment of even the tiniest minor stress, I go, let me think about it for a minute. Anytime.
Don't give it to Randy. We will just be around the house. It's like, that's the night the skeletons came to life. Like that whole skit is so funny. Me, Billy, wait, you mean him, Billy, or me, Billy? Your name's Billy too? No, that's why I'm so fucking confused. That shit is so. I don't care if they ever do a season 2. I feel like if that was it, it was so good.
Yeah. I am. Yeah. So I need to watch his thing on the characters because I haven't seen that one.
It's pretty funny. I don't think it's as funny, but I also don't think every sketch on that show is equally funny, right? There are some that are way funnier than others, and I think it's just the pure volume that I end up liking. I think you should leave more.
Yeah,
because there's more sketches.
Even if in the worst sketches, a lot of them have just so many quotable lines.
Yeah. What's wild is that SNL said these are basically the sketches that SNL said no to, and it's all of these are funnier than anything on SNL. SNL is honestly, not funny at all.
And we can talk about this in the show, but I think like I saw a piece. It was like a internet video essay person, just kind of like the profitability of SNL and how like SNL is basically like the most like populist show where like, you know, like making fun of Donald Trump. If the needle ever moved to his approval rating being like whatever, like they would do it less. Like they or they are like out to make as much money as they can. So that's why if you watch old like Kyle or like Beck, their like stuff on the internet, it is like as absurd as I Think You Should Leave. But they're on the show and they've been on there forever, but they're just like not allowed to like
do that.
Yeah. And even like any time that they're like, because they have a lot of sketches that do like the this didn't make it to air, but we shot this anyway, like digital short sort of things. And a lot of times they'll put those only on the internet because they know that like a more internet savvy audience thinks that they're funnier, but like their like old white liberal audience will not find that sort of brand of absurdist humor funny at all.
Well, and I think that's part of it is like their audience is old white liberals because and a change in like liberal culture over the last 20 years is it's gone from being, well, not even 20, 40 years, 50 years, as it's gone from being the counterculture to like scolds. And so it's like you can't like this can't be fun if it's the same audience who was watching it in the 70s is now watching it in the 2020s. Like they've become scolds, and that's just not a good comedic vein where like, you know, the classic comedy, if you explain like what is a joke, it is a man in a nice rich suit or a rich man in a nice suit slipping on a banana peel and falling into mud. That's a joke because it's like someone who is very high status and thinks they're really great being brought low. That is a joke. Like making fun of the establishment. But their audience, who has followed them for 50 years, is now the stuffy, scoldy establishment. And so it's like, well, I mean, like, as much as I hate Steven Crowder, and I do, like, no, it's the dirtbag left, right? Like, it's like, the humor is in making fun of the liberal establishment because they are, like, the hegemonic rulers.
Yeah.
And so, like, they are the ones who need to be brought low to make a joke. So if you're like catering to the establishment, it's like, well, you can't make jokes because like they're the people you would make jokes of. So like, what do you do? And also their jokes just go on too long. I mean, my main complaint about SNL is like they'll have one premise that's funny. Like if you pitched it, it's funny, but then they make it like a 6-minute sketch. And it's like, no, sorry, this needs to be like 2.5 minutes, and you just need 3 times as many sketches because they're like funny for one joke and then they just keep going, and it's like, okay, please end the sketch.
That's kind of interesting. Like I feel like some I don't know, because I feel like some of the I Think You Should Leave sketches, they're kind of based on the premise of like one thing that goes on for a really long time, but he just does it better.
Yeah, but it's like, different jokes.
Yeah,
it's funnier jokes.
Like the one that like goes on for a while, but I absolutely love is like the one where his like Cecily Strong leaves him because he gets made fun of by a magician.
I think you're misremembering that. That sketch is like a minute and a half, and it is
really
the perfect amount of time.
Okay.
Because it's like you see the original, you get the setup, and then he goes home and they have that one fight in the bedroom, and then it's like, and then he goes back. It's three parts, but I mean, he's just like, you ruined my fucking life, and then it cuts, and like that's the end of it. Like it doesn't go on like on a. Well, I think okay, but here's another example. The one
why didn't you stick up for yourself, you fucking coward?
I'll stay with you, but I'll never respect you. No, but the one where the car one where he's like, it's too small. It's stinky. like an SNL sketch would keep doing that, but he just kept saying stinky for 6 minutes. But like takes this weird turn where he's like, I am more popular than you, and then then it takes another turn where it's like the whole group is like, oh, you love your mother-in-law. Like it's it's several different jokes that are like sort of escalating in this weird way.
I agree. Watch that one all the time. Just that one moment where that one woman just goes, "Come on, Paul!" Like, like
Paul. I think that guy was just doing that too. I think if I've heard right, like that guy just talks like that. And they're like, we need to get him in the show.
There was a like a thing that they interviewed him, whatever they were talking about him, and he was like, yeah, he was just a dude that auditioned. Like he was just some like wild guy.
But okay, so I don't know what it is. Maybe it's just better act. I don't know what it is. I don't want to talk shit. I mean, the SNL comedians are funny. Like they're good comedians.
Like it's sort of like the live nature of it, you know? Like
I don't know. But I think about like the toilet paper sketch or the gift receipt one, right? Like that one. That is one that I think is the closest to what I don't like about SNL. But it's funny. But it's really funny. And I don't know what it is that's different about that one, where it is like essentially the same. But it isn't, because it just keeps escalating, where he's not like keeps asking him like, you don't like it, do you? And then at the end where he dies,
then they have like the very similar thing. Like there's a definitive turn where like the audience or like everyone is against him, and it's like,
I think that's maybe it. There's no turn in SNL skits. Like the first minute and a half, maybe you get the joke and you're like, oh, I understand the premise. That's funny, and they're funny premises. But then there's no turn. There's no second act. It's just like, no, we're just going to keep making this joke for another 4 minutes. And it's like, oh, well, I don't like that. And they can't make any real jokes. Because it's like, we can't insult our personal audience. And like, we can't punch up because our audience is up. And punching down isn't funny. Well, I mean, which is why Steven Crowder isn't funny.
Yeah, sometimes it is like kind of like hard for SNL because one, they have like such thin writing margins, and two, like I imagine there's like a lot of people in like, you know, like he worked for SNL, and like there's probably people that have like ideas like that. I bet Kyle and Beck are chucking out ideas that are like absurdist and wild, and it's just like, like this is not like it is. It's kind of like it's one of my, I think, oddly enough, one of the best shows to compare SNL to that did it right, by just kind of like at least their initial run was the Muppets, because like the Muppets, if you've ever gone back and watched it, it is bonkers. It is absurdist and weird, and like the joke, like it's genuinely funny, and it's just like it has this like pure chaos energy around it. And it is like everything about it is like, it feels
because it's like a vaudeville show, right? That's what it's modeled after.
Yeah, it is like vaudeville. And then they'll have like celebrities come on, like Elton John or like John Denver, who are like giving it 100% the whole time.
That's cool.
And because they bring on celebrity guests, and like the whole show is like, and our special celebrity guest, Elton John. And then like Elton John will come on, and they'll like be in like the sort of things with them. And it is just absolutely wild. Like skets will end in like with like explosions, or like with like genuine like violence where Muppets get hurt. It is the wildest thing. And like it does have a lot of that like same energy that I think SNL used to have, which was like, we're like 12 asshats just like throwing a theater, like throwing a show together.
Right.
And
chewing
we're all like, it's like, we're all like, you know, drunk and off cocaine and like out of our minds.
They were all on cocaine. I mean, there is a lot of cocaine energy in that show.
Like Muppets is like a very similar thing, except it's all puppets, and there is like a degree of wild professionalism.
Well, they're Muppets, but okay,
they're Muppets. I guess you're right.
What's is Muppet like a portmanteau? Is just Muppet just what it's called?
Wait, what do you mean?
Like, is Muppet 2 words? Is it a M word and a puppet? Like, what? Or is it just? Are they just called Muppets?
I think it's called Muppets.
It's not like a different thing. I don't know. It never occurred to me.
Anyway, but like the Muppets ended. You know, they were like, all right, we're done. And then like when they did come out with stuff, it like in the Muppets Christmas special or Muppets Christmas Carol, whatever, it still
Muppets
has
Take
that like,
Manhattan,
sort of like
yeah.
chaos energy. But
Sure.
SNL just kept on going, and then because it became like this sort of thing that was like it was popular because it was kind of an underground garage hit.
Right.
Like,
I guess
it's,
that's my
had
point.
to keep going, and then like as you were saying, the audience grew up with it. Is like they're the ones that were like you're
Well,
not
and
like
culture.
you're,
I don't think
you're,
that's necessarily. It's just it happened to be that the white liberal educated audience that like was getting high in college watching SNL are now 50-year-old liberal scolds who are, and I think my timeline's off because I forget that it's not the year 2000. But whatever, you know what I mean. Like the culture I think they're playing to can never make fun of. It's not funny because they can't punch up because they are up, and punching up is what jokes are.
Mm-hmm.
So if you can't do that, then I don't know what you're gonna do. Some of them are funny. I just think they're too long and they're not terribly funny.
This has nothing to do with Tim Robbins. I like anytime I hear the word absurdist, I remember this one this one interview that like it lives in my mind, it rent free. TJ Miller, who was famous for being TJ Miller. He, and for those who don't know, he was in a show called Silicon Valley. He was in Transformers, Dark of the Night, and
Dark of the Moon. Okay.
No, he wasn't in Dark of the Moon. That's the third one. That's the one that I like.
Okay. Well, Dark of the Night is into film.
Yeah,
The Last Night.
I think it was The Last Night. It's the one with Mark. It's the one with Mark Wahlberg. And
there's two of them with Mark Wahlberg.
It's the first one with Mark Wahlberg where the guy has a laminated copy of
that's the Age of Extinction.
the Age of Consent. And that is the title of that movie.
No, the film is called Age of Extinction. He has a laminated copy of the Texas's Romeo and Juliet laws in his wallet because I think he's like 21, maybe he's 20,
something
and
like that.
And she's 17, but they started dating before. Maybe he's like 19. It's like really close, but like. Because they started dating when they were both underage, the Romeo and Juliet law, so it's not statutory rape.
Laminated
has
his damn wallet.
Because he's a sovereign citizen, I guess. He thinks it's on the law. Like, if he doesn't assert the law, it won't exist. I don't know what.
Which big money producer was like, I gotta get this out there.
That's totally some shit that he's trying to argue with his ex-wife.
Michael Bay, I will pay you as much money as you want as long as there is a scene with this in it.
Right, because his ex-wife is trying to take the house on grounds that he was having an affair and it was statutory rape. So once again, my timeline's really, that doesn't really work because anyway.
But yeah, so TJ Miller, he is
TJ Miller, of course, of Age of Extinction fame.
Yeah, TJ Miller's in Age of Extinction, and
he dies in that movie, doesn't he?
He dies in that movie, yeah.
He's one of the few people to die in a Transformers movie.
Yeah, he dies in that movie, and I'll talk about another interview after that. But this one,
right, I know that story.
Wait,
about why he dies.
No,
Michael Bay didn't think he was funny.
Oh, I think Michael Bay didn't think he was funny, but I think like Steven Spielberg, who produces those movies, was like, "Oh, would you want to do another one?" And then he was like, "I died," and then Steven was like, "Who the fuck cares? I'm Steven Spielberg.
It's Transformers." I mean, that's funny, but no, I'm pretty sure the story goes that Michael Bay didn't think TJ Miller was funny, and so he was supposed to live to the end of the movie, but they killed him because he was like, didn't like him. Like, he just didn't think he was working for the movie. Not like he just like didn't want him on set, but like he didn't think it was working in the movie because he didn't find TJ Miller funny.
Well, there's an interview where like I think because Michael Bay is such a totalitarian sort of director,
sure,
I think that like TJ Miller was like making like little snippy like remarks at him.
Now you're thinking of Megan Fox.
No, I think like not snippy like
calling him a Nazi, which
like
is what
I hate you, but snippy like he would openly mock him, and like anytime he was being way too totalitarian, he would be like he'd like be like okay, or like do like some sort of like funny voice, or like make it known that like everyone thought he was being a jackass.
Got it.
And maybe it was that, but also Michael Bay was probably like, "Don't you ever make fun of me."
Maybe that's what he meant by he didn't think he was funny. Is he's personally offended. Anyway, T.J. Miller of Age of Extinction fame.
Age of Extinction fame. He is in an interview where he's talking about a comedy special he's coming out with.
Sure.
And he says, I am the last absurdist working today. And I hated that.
I was gonna say, is he like?
No, he's not.
He just like tells jokes.
It was this really weird, even if he is an absurdist, he's not the last one.
Certainly not.
And even if like it was just like one of those things where and like it showed one of his comedy bits, and I think it just means like his bits are like non-linear or they don't go like set up punchline. And I was kind of like,
he's not doing Mike Birbiglia where it's like an overarching
I was like, yeah,
story.
man, it's been a while since we've done like a what's the deal with, you know?
Yeah.
Like I don't think. Like you're not like what a weird thing to say. And it was like drenched in so much like I don't know cockiness or self-importance. And he was talking about like how he had like studied these books of absurdists, and it was like talking about these like old comedians that were like his role models. And I forgot who they were, but he was saying it like so I'm undercover brilliant or something. It was just like the attitude with it. Anyway, every time I think of TJ Miller, I think of him
Michael Bay was right.
It was like it was such a puzzling moment of him being like I forgot the comedy special, but like it was like him advertising me like this. You're probably not gonna like this, and it's not because it's not funny. It's because I'm so galaxy brain that you're not just this isn't Jerry Seinfeld, all right? You're going to have to wake up pretty early in the morning and study a lot of books before you get the kind of content I'm pulling out. And then he like will like open up a bottle of water and spray himself with water. And it's like, hell yeah, brother.
But like you think there's no like guy with borderline schizophrenia in Queens who's not doing absurdist comedy? Like,
yeah. Or
what do you mean you're the only one? Like, of course people are doing that.
Well, kind of when it made me think of, I think you should leave and other stuff. And I was like, absurdist comedy is very popular. Like, it's really like it's
right, yeah, of course, Tim Robbins. I didn't even think about that.
Yeah, so that's why I was thinking about it, because I was just like, what?
I wouldn't even call that absurdist.
I was like, the consciousness moves. Like it all kind of like we all think similar things are funny. Like, because when you think back to like, I don't know, 2017, 2016 or whatever, like all like and like when Rick and Morty was popping up, like a lot of nihilism was funny. And now we've kind of gotten into this age of like, if you look at like internet culture and like even like the memes that are being passed around, a lot of them are just like absurd, and they're just like Salvador Dali or like Dadaism, like this kind of.
Well, relax. They're just memes, but okay.
No, well, I mean, because art moves in waves, and I feel like that is sort of the movement
but like sassy Kermit is not fucking Salvador Dali.
Nah, well, so I'm thinking of this one meme in particular where there's it's like a stock photo of a guy and there's motion blur on it, and it just says Dave, and the Dave is also in motion blur. Funny. And it's just and like that was it. That was the whole thing. It just said Dave.
I mean, that's funny.
And so like, yeah, that's what I was like kind of thinking of, was like that to me is like in the future people can see that as like, hey, remember that one time a guy sold a urinal for like several $1,000s and was like, this is art, and then he like tricked the bigwig like liberal,
as a comment on how the art was stupid. That was his whole point for the urinal piece, is that these people are not objective and this is fucking ridiculous. That was the point of the piece, I believe, if I'm remembering my Dada history right.
Yeah, and it's just like, and like I imagine like even talk about like what's important about this? Nothing. It's a urinal. Like,
that's the point. You idiots. Like, why did you elevate this?
Yeah. So, but like, I think, I see it as a similar sort of like thing. Where like basically, like that was really popular back in like the 1910s, and like we all kind of like art moves cyclically, and now, for lack of a better term, like this is our version of like, cartoons or however Nickelodeons or whatever it is that is like art that is mass produced and mass like consumed by the people.
I'll take
and
that.
It's nothing. It's absurdist nothingness. And for TJ Miller to be like, yeah, I'm kind of the last guy doing this. I'm like, no, you're not.
Well, and and I think your point, is genuinely, I think your point makes sense because their World War I was our 9/11, where it's like, oh, right, the event that was so, well, and the Iraq War following it, like the event that was so insane that it just drove everybody crazy. Like it just had this low level of effect of driving everyone absolutely crazy. And then this was the art that came out of this like mild insanity that everyone was suffering from. And like, yeah, I've been on a 9/11 tip today. I've been talking about 9/11 a lot.
Do you think it's 9/11? I feel like that one's. I feel like it's too far removed. Because like,
we're literally still in both of those wars.
I know, but like,
it's 2021 and we're in both of those wars.
Who are the it's not. I mean, like people that. Because, we barely had time to process 9/11 because, like, you and I were, like, kiddos.
Yeah.
And, like, I'm too old to be making the Dave meme. So,
right, but what I'm saying is that, like, culture was not permanently, but for a long time scarred by the just sort of absurdity of that event. Like, what sprung out of it. Like, no, maybe they aren't directly responding to... or certainly none of us are consciously responding to 9/11, but like what that event set in motion, like, no, what they're probably unconsciously responding to is Donald Trump, but none of that would have happened if not for 9/11. So like I'm saying that was a specific turning point like World War I that drove the world insane. I maybe like I feel like either I'm not giving enough credence to 9/11 or I give way too much credence to like the 2008 market crash. Like that's the one that I feel right. But why did that happen?
Yeah, I guess you're right. I guess you're right. Yeah.
9/11. There's things that led up to the 2008 financial crash that were not directly an effect of 9/11, but like the massive expansion of the executive branch and then the Patriot Act and the just forever war.
I feel like it was like more, to me, that one exists more as like heavy, like hardcore, like consumerism. And like that sort of like, and maybe it is that like kind of a Black Mirror, what if your best mate was a stove, sort of,
and the stove was on Bluetooth.
Yeah, it's almost it's a reverso of the like how do we beat communism? Oh, we beat communism by like having a shit ton of babies, right. And like we really lean into this American ideology of picnics and having like 2.5 kids and like having a white picket fence and like really shown it to those guys just by living our best lives.
Now you're not saying that's why communism fell apart, right?
No, I'm not saying that's, but I'm saying like America's
because all the genocides helped, certainly.
Yeah. No, I'm saying that like all of the like America's approach to dealing with that,
totally
like it's like, oh, I'll show you an American, and
well, that's what I mean. Bush literally went out and said, "Go out and shop," like a couple days later.
Yeah, so like that was his the reverso version of communism fought like the communism approach in the 1950s of like be unapologetically American is to like to whatever, and then in 2002 2003 like that one is like be unapologetically American and like consume and like really show these terrorists that like we're not afraid of them by getting as much as you can.
I mean, we started calling French fries freedom fries. Like
that was pretty tight.
But no, but that's what I'm saying is like
knocking on that one actually.
This low level, I guess, like sort of in your face and this slipping of the mask of like all of this is made up and fuck you
Yeah.
I think was what drove people insane. Like 9/11, of course, and also then when you start hearing all the stuff about it, and like, all these people like traded a bunch of stocks on airline companies the day before. That's pretty fucking weird. And then you look at the financial crisis, right? All of those people lost their homes, and they bailed out the banks, who gave a bunch of bonuses to their CEOs. And then we get on the news and it's like, yeah, it's a great new day because, Obama's president. So actually it's all good. It's like, wait, but didn't we all just get super fucked? And it's like, nope. And then what do you get to? And then you have Trump, and you have Epstein getting murdered, and you have all these like very obvious in your face things where it's like, it just drives you insane. Like, you just have to become an insane person.
Yeah. Like very, very clear indications of like, even if we told you, it wouldn't matter. Like
and we are telling you now.
Like you control nothing, and
right.
Like, so like the high players will play, and like you are like puzzle pieces or like you are like cogs in this little thing. And I think so. It's like like the way to deal with it is to like become cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs and have like share these like weirdo like. Dave, it's almost like it's like why it is the like we live in a society sort of mantra where it's like either you can like freak out and like be depressive, which is like a lot of people's response, or you can just like be like a manic. Like those are like
which is my response.
Yeah, those are kind of the two things. It reminds me, and like I don't know if I guess I wasn't with you. It was at the Speed Art Museum where there were two pieces talking. It was like two pieces reflecting on World War I. And one was like a parade of like soldiers coming back and it being like awesome. And it was very hyper patriotic. And the other one was just like shades of gray splotched on a giant white canvas.
Exactly.
And it was just like, these are two pieces painted around the same time, responding to the same event.
Right.
And it was like, oh, this person like dealt with it by like despair. And this person was like, fuck yeah, like we did it, guys. And so like, I think like even like, the absurdism and everything like that is a response to like, it kind of reminds me of the same thing. Like, you can like the two ways to respond are either to like be into like kind of a manic like despair, or you can be like, we did it, like we're the best there ever was.
Right. Well, and my point I think is not that 9/11 in particular, but the massive expansion of the surveillance state and also the executive power made it easier to go mask off. Right. So much power was taken away from people who, frankly, didn't have that much power anyway. But like, we're talking the 2000s. But even then, the election of George W. The election of George W. Bush, he didn't win. Like, he didn't win, and the Supreme Court just said he did. And like, literally, it is the only Supreme Court decision that in the decision they write, this cannot be used as precedent. They knew it wasn't legal, and they just made him the president, and you just have to deal with that. And with the Patriot Act and the expansion of the executive branch and all of those things, like, it just became a lot more mask off and like, yes, we're going to bail out the banks and we're not going to bail you out and you're fucked. And then we're going to get on TV and tell you actually it's great. And like, Trump is this transparent liar who is just an insane Fox News grandpa. And it's like, yeah, but you know what? He's president now, and that's it. And it's like, but what? Nope, it doesn't matter. And like, whatever. Biden also sucks, but is differently. But anyway, all this, and Epstein, where it's like, he got murdered, obviously. And then everyone on TV is like, yep, suicide. Yep, he just had 75 blankets in his room, and he hung himself 12 times because he leaned forward real hard. And you just have to take it. And it isn't true. And you're just like, and I think it just drives you insane. But those things are more possible, I think, because of 9/11. And that set all this in motion to be more mask off. Now, I could be completely biased because, of course, like you said, we were in third grade when 9/11 happened. So that was the first like world event. Maybe if I was younger, I would say it's Desert Storm. I don't fucking know. Or not if I was younger. If I was older, I would say it's Desert Storm. I have no idea. But to me, that is the World War I of our generation, where like the way World War I colored world history for the next 100 years and even is responsible for 9/11. I mean, which you and I have had that not argument, but we've agreed about before that like, yeah, the Treaty of Versailles is totally why 9/11 happened. 9/11 is going to be, the progenitor of the next 100 years of world history.
Yeah. So the Treaty of Versailles is actually to blame for that TJ Miller interview as well. So that's kind of, that's
Treaty
kind
of Versailles is the only working absurdist.
Yeah. Come on, TJ Miller. You haven't seen his stuff. We never did start the show.
I guess we'll just start the show. How about this? I thought about it because I knew we were riffing.
Yeah.
This is we'll start the show.
This is our absurdist show.
How about we make it 4 hours like the Justice League?
Right, of course. Yes.
We can start the show like regular.
Uh-huh.
And then after you do the intro, we'll be like, hey, we bullshitted before. So actually, we're going to put that at the end. And then we can talk about Justice League for however long. Mm-hmm. And then we'll just cut to when we actually started.
Yeah.
Does that work?
Okay. That sounds great. Yeah.
Cool.
Well, anyway, that's our show. Thank you all so much for coming to Get Better. If you want to find more of our stuff, you can go on our Instagram, which is at Get Better Podcast. It's at Get_Better_Podcast. You can also find us on YouTube. Just search Get Better Podcast, where you can find our full episodes as well as little clips. And if you're listening to us on iTunes, please rate and review. It's super helpful. And if you're listening to us on Spotify, just keep right on listening to us on Spotify. If you guys have, different things that you think were affected by 9/11 or other implications of the cyborg scene from the Justice League Snyder Cut,
both equally impactful.
Yeah, you can email us at meetthefockers2fockedup@gmail.com. That's meetthefockers2fockedup@gmail.com. And that's all I have. So see you guys next week.
All right.
See you bye forever.
Should we start recording or?